Grief Karga said you were coming.
What else did he say?
He said you were the best in the parsec. Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
You are a Mandalorian. Your ancestors rode the great mythosaur.
Your name will be legendary.
I don't know if you heard, but the Empire is gone.
We have you 4-1.
I like those odds.
Hello and welcome to Mandalorian Minute, a Who Watches podcast about the Disney Plus series The Mandalorian. I'm Travis Fishburne.
I'm Ryan DeVere.
And I'm Dustin Meadows.
And this week we'll be discussing Season 1, Chapter 7, The Reckoning. So this episode is very fresh at the time of this recording. Usually we have a few days to kind of get caught up and prepared. But what do you guys think of this really incredible episode?
Things got knocked up a notch.
Yeah, this, it's been an enjoyable pace so far. It's been kind of just these almost bottle episodes, you know, the flavor of the week. And then everything has started to come together towards the end of this season in a really nice, organic way. And I feel like the quality of the show overall has gone just through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
This is by far, I've been really excited about the series as it's happened, but this has really bumped it up to me.
Yeah, same. This, we've kind of had some lower stakes episodes, and then this one just shook all that right down. I was like, oh yeah, no, we're kicking it into top gear now.
Yeah, as soon as the previously on, I always watch the previously ons just because I feel like it gives it a certain flow and a setup, even though we've seen it all.
Yeah.
But as they show all the things, I'm like, oh, there it's about to all happen. Like we're about to see
When they give
the
you the
reckoning.
big recap.
Yeah.
Yeah, this previously on felt a lot like a Game of Thrones previously on. Of these characters are coming back around.
That's always the giveaway when you're watching Game of Thrones and they show a scene from season 3 and you're in season 7. You're like, all right, so this person is about to show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Mandalorian gets a message from Grief Karga asking him to come back to Navarro and dispatch of the Imperial forces seeking the child. The Mandalorian recruits Cara Dune and Quill and a resurrected IG-11 to help. After a fatal injury is healed by the child, Karga reveals that his original intention was to double-cross Mando, but he's had a change of heart. The group heads into town to see the Imperial client, only to discover that they are completely unprepared for the forces that are waiting for them.
Yeah, a lot going on.
Yeah.
Bringing back a lot of great characters. I'm very happy that we get to see Cara Dune again so soon. And her introduction this episode too, with the weird cage fighting thing almost.
Yeah.
Where they're tethered by some
mm-hmm.
kind of electrical current, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, I didn't understand she wrapped him up and then that current gets discharged and I'm like, all right, well, is that what ends the fight? Is somehow that,
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure the logistics of it because I was like, it didn't seem like it was to keep them close to each other because they had a good distance between them for the majority of the fight when they weren't trading blows. But yeah, what a fun little sequence.
Mm-hmm.
And again, just a little more kind of insight into that planet. With it being kind of a backwater planet, like they talk about. It's this is what they do to pass the time, is they just bet on bar fights.
Yeah.
And for some reason, this weird electrical tether is part of that.
Mm-hmm.
The dude grabbed and pulled on electric. That's there's some kind of science there. I don't have context for.
Maybe he's
We're
wearing rubber
familiar
shoes.
with the term "ride the lightning."
That was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and clearly, this is not a new thing to where the bar has these belts that you can tether people to fight. There'd probably be a way to eliminate the need for cleanup after a bar fight.
Yeah.
If you guys are gonna fight, put these on.
All I could keep thinking of, I was like, there's got to be a better way to do it. Like, because I always, anytime I see fights like that where people are connected, I think of,
Do you see a lot of those?
well, not very often, but like the in the Beat It video when like the dudes like tie their wrists together and they're like knife fighting.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, that seems
One of
like it'd be
those.
easier, like way easier, and it seems like it's more interesting. There's probably a lot of bobbing and weaving with like 10 feet of space to play with.
Yeah. You got to make a move quick if you're tied that close.
Yeah, but yeah, so we get Cara Dune, and then
Would have been very cool if they were playing Beat It during the
yeah,
the whole sequence.
if figuring down in the modal notes have been playing Beat It.
She's so they're talking in the bar, and she's pretty open about like, yeah, if anybody knows about me, then I go to jail. But the bar is populated with people, so it gives me the sense
She's
that,
making
like,
a name for herself there, doing
Yeah.
all this fighting.
yeah, so she's like a known quantity there. But I also get the sense that this is the hiding place of a lot of less than
Yeah,
above the law people.
they might not have the high profile that she does.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he shows up and he tries to recruit her, and she's not interested until he says,
He's not a local warlord. He's Imperial.
I'm in.
That changes her mind. I love that both episodes she's been in, like, people's minds have just been changed, like, like on the turn of a dime.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, you can't stay here. Well, we don't want to go anywhere. It's like, okay, I guess we'll train you. I don't want to go there. I'm not doing any kind of work. It's Imperials. All right, let's go.
Yeah, she's very dedicated to taking out Imperials and fighting for the rebellion, obviously, because they mention her tattoo. And when they mentioned her tattoo at first, I was like, oh yeah, the one on her eye, or the one like on her cheek, which
Yeah.
is the rebellion insignia.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, it's the one on her arm,
Yeah,
which
the
is
bars.
yeah, also that. So she's all in on that.
Did at any point had she said why she left? Oh, because it became like
yeah,
protecting local
she wanted
warlords,
to
basically.
keep fighting.
Yeah.
It
That's
wasn't
right.
what she signed
Not
up
her
for.
kind of work. Yeah.
But she clearly still doesn't like Empire.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. And
Give her
then
the opportunity to squash any remainings of that.
and then they go pick up Quill,
Yeah,
Who
on our
was-
Vala 7.
who has rewired IG-11 to be a servant droid.
Yeah, he's back. I was so excited when we saw him in the previous, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's
we go.
coming
Yup.
back. I was not expecting him to walk in so soon, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He just rolls in and they pull their blasters on him.
And he's like, "You want some tea?"
Yep, because his neural harness was still intact, just barely. But
Quill has a line about like,
You'd had to learn everything from scratch.
yeah, and then they show a montage
"No, he
of him
doesn't."
training.
He's a robot. What do you mean he has to learn everything?
Yeah, that was interesting to me. The whole Divergent thing there, where they're like, all right, now we're going to show you, like,
Everything
He has
he's
to learn how to
worked through.
stand and work on his grip strength.
because I feel like all he would have had to say is, like, I found him and, like, I reprogrammed him. But they went through the,
Right.
through the process of, like, we're going to go and we're going to shoot this of him finding him and him taking him back and all this. So it's
Yeah.
found that interesting.
I-
Through patience and affirmation.
they went out of their way to do some character development for IG-11, that's fine. I think he's an interesting character, and I want to see more of him. But at the same time, why does it take him multiple attempts to pick up a pot? Like, if he's a robot, wouldn't he go, oh, okay, I used too much force this time. I'll just dial that back by X percentage.
Yeah, I do
Like-
not know.
It just
Maybe
felt-
he's too damaged.
He's oh, the new adventure. He doesn't ever fire a blaster ever again because he.
Maybe we'll see.
Yeah, we didn't get to see the 3PO montage in Phantom Menace as he learned.
I'm not sure this floor is entirely stable. Oh,
Yeah,
Maybe that was a cutscene.
on one hand, they're talking about how he's had to learn everything from the ground up, basically.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, Quill's like, no, I reprogrammed him. He's a good guy now.
Which one is
It's
it?
like, which you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like, either he is or he isn't. But
Yeah, I mean, that is more, maybe it's just for Quill's character development more than IG-11's to show him how he like takes this slow and steady process, and he keeps bringing up the patience that he had to endure to do this.
Absolutely, yeah. He's definitely got kind of this Master Splinter feel to him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm glad to have IG-11 back.
Yeah, me as well. Which he's going to be the savior in the next episode.
It's got to be, right? Like that's exactly what's getting set up for.
Maybe.
But yeah. So they talk about Baby Yoda for a second, and Mandalorian says he thinks it's a strand cast, which I had to look that up because I'm like, what's a strand cast? I've never heard that term before.
Yeah, I hadn't either.
It's a real world term for casting and molding metal, which is just like some term that they like used and threw into here, which would make sense. Yeah. Especially coming from like the Mandalorians and the way that they focus on blacksmithing and using armor and metals.
His terms would be based on forging.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. But Quill doesn't think so. He thinks he's natural.
Yeah.
He's too ugly to be.
Yeah, he's looks evolved. He's too ugly.
To which he throws this interesting little compliment, I guess, about Cara Dune.
This one, on the other hand, looks like she was farmed in the Sido caves of Nora.
What does that mean?
I don't know if she knew how to take that either.
And so then they just move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he's calling her pretty. I don't think he was nagging her.
I didn't think so.
Yeah, and we learned that Quill was an Imperial slave, pretty much.
Yeah.
Wonder if he was on Cloud City when they took over.
He was the one that ripped C-3PO apart.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where he learned it.
Yeah.
He's got
Used his hands to earn his freedom.
To which he references that a couple times, and I was like thinking, he's not saying that he killed anybody. Like,
yeah,
used your hands could be taken a couple different ways.
I think he doesn't seem nearly troubled enough to have done that. I think he genuinely was an engineer or something similar. Because it seems like that a lot of the Ugnaughts were used in that capacity, at least the ones we saw like in Cloud City. Just that he wasn't happy about who he was working with, obviously.
Yeah.
That's how I took it. I don't think he's got anything. I think the darkest thing about him is that he was an Imperial slave in terms of his history.
Right. And clearly not necessarily even willingly.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, because he said something like he was sold or traded into it.
Yeah.
Something, which like makes like is like are Ugnaught slaves? Is that a thing?
Like Twi'leks?
Yeah.
Or
Twi'leks are
Wookiees.
just usually slaves.
I don't know.
Like maybe like noblemen like owned Ugnaughts like the way that people own slaves or something.
Yeah.
Maybe they're like the house elves of this universe.
Yeah, something like that.
No,
Maybe
I'm just not happy unless I'm serving.
Yeah. Up until now in this series, the only identifiable character trait of the Ugnaughts that they've established in both The Empire Strikes Back and then there were some episodes in the Clone Wars in which they did the carbon freezing trick to transport and there were Ugnaughts in there. And I'm like, they're always tied to like the carbon freezing. And there's no call out to that, even though he probably saw that the chamber that he had in the Razor Crest. So it's nice to expand on that because Mandalorian even says, I can pay you handsomely, Ugnaught.
Yeah.
Very just...
Which Quill takes offense to.
Yeah, he does. He's like, I'm a
I have a
person.
name.
My name is Anakin. Or Quill. I'm sorry.
Which Quill looks at Cara Dune and says, "Are you an angel?"
Oh, yeah, he does kind of do that. There's some context now.
Oh my gosh. But that's more like I took that as like Quill clearly takes that as an insult. But on the other hand, we literally just call this guy the Mandalorian. We have no name for him. And in fact, Quill only ever calls him Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Like we don't know his name in the canon of the show so far.
Well, he never gives it.
Right, exactly. So like this is more just how Mandalorian operates than any intent on, I think, his part.
Yeah, I think that's more a Mandalorian thing in general
Yeah.
than anything.
Yeah. We didn't... in the scenes that we've gotten with multiple Mandalorians, nobody identifies themselves as anything.
Yeah.
Any
It's
name.
not like, all right, stand down, Dave. Like,
Yes.
it's just...
Well, we do know that Paz Vizsla is the name of one of them.
Right.
But it's never
But it's
said
never
in the
said.
show. But yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we know, like, because Pedro Pascal said, like, in the interviews, like, he leaked the Mandalorian's real name.
Right.
But yeah, I'm really surprised that we haven't gotten it in the context of the show yet.
Yeah.
Which seems
There's
weird.
only one episode to go. Which is
Yeah, maybe we'll find out more about him.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get his name.
So then moving on in the episode, though, we get this really interesting scene next on the Razor Crest where Mandalorian and Cara are arm wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we find out that a blurg can fit on the ship.
It's the big revelation.
And that's what I was getting at. No, and then Baby Yoda uses the Force on her, starts Force choking her specifically, which I'm trying to think of any other instance. Luke is the only other person,
in Return of the Jedi
only
with
other
the
Jedi
Gamorreans.
who Force chokes.
Anakin does in the Clone Wars before he's Darth Vader.
But he's Anakin.
Yeah.
That's gray area. Like, pretty... Other than these very few instances, Force choking is almost always a Sith
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Well, it's weird, too, because when that surprised me that he was choking her.
Yeah.
Because when I saw him concert, I thought he was just going to, like,
Right.
tip the
Yeah.
scales one way. And then she started choking. I was like, oh,
And then he's
no,
got
he choking her.
Dark look on his face, too.
Yeah.
So
It's like it's almost kind of sweet because we find out he was doing it because he thought that the Mandalorian was in trouble.
It's like if you've ever like done any kind of like fake wrestling or anything in front of like a dog that's attached to you and it thinks that you're in trouble. That's what it's like.
That's exactly what it is.
Down, boy, down. But we've seen... Baby Yoda has seen Mandalorian and Cara fight before, and like a much more serious fight than this.
Well, he walked in on the tail end of one. Like,
Yeah.
he walked in on them with blasters drawn.
Right. But
Yeah, I guess you would think that he would have.
he didn't
jumped
intervene then. What has changed to now?
Well, I mean, do we know that he understands that blasters are like weapons? Because I mean, how many times like
seen it.
how many like Zero literally had a rifle pointed at him, and like he was kind of slow to even like try to raise his hand in defense.
Yeah.
Episode 2, when they're going back to the Razor Crest, when Mandalorian first gets the baby going back, they get jumped by the other bounty hunters.
Trandoshans.
Yeah, Trandoshans. And one of them gets vaporized right in front of him.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then
I
he's
guess you're
vaporizing
right.
the Jawas in front of him too.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
but they made a point to show Baby Yoda's face when the Trandoshan
Like the reaction,
gets, yeah. So he has some sort of context for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And you'd think that the emotions in that first scene, or that first interaction where they're fighting with each other would have been much higher, and he would have felt like
Yeah.
this is an actual threat instead of this playful
Right.
situation.
This just stands out to me as something interesting.
I mean, it could have
like
been-
you could pass it off as just he misread the situation. He wants to protect the Mandalorian.
Yeah, I would think the rationale for that would be because like when the Trandoshans attack, like that's literally moments after he's met the Mandalorian.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Whereas like by now they've clearly formed a bond. So I mean, maybe that's the difference.
And they've gone through a lot since they met Cara last time.
exactly.
But like they've worked with Cara, and like
She's saved his
been-
life.
Yeah, she should be some sort of known quantity to him.
Sure, but I mean he's also a baby.
This is true.
I don't know. I
just-
think he's a little more sentient than
Yeah.
we're giving him credit for, because he is 50 years old.
Right.
So you'd think. I don't know.
Maybe he's
I
an
don't know the
imperial
degree of-
spy.
There was this, so okay, to bring this all back around. This was the first time I questioned maybe the motivations of Baby Yoda.
Okay.
Of like maybe he's not. We see
he's not
Baby
what we think
Yoda
he
and we
is.
immediately go, oh, Jedi. But this is the first time I went, oh, evil Yoda.
What if he has to put him down?
What if this is all?
Oh yeah.
What if this is Old Yeller?
Oh, that would be a dark turn.
Yeah.
He's 50
But I mean,
years
I-
old.
Another Western.
I do think this show is, if there's one thing it's done well, it's kind of subverting what you think is going to happen.
Yeah.
So I mean, I I could very easily see that.
Ryan Johnson said he was on the set of season 2 and got to see Baby Yoda.
Oh.
So I'm wondering
Maybe
if they're
Baby
gonna
Yoda kills the Mandalorian.
Oh, I was gonna say I wonder if they handed the the episode where Mandalorian kills Baby Yoda to Ryan Johnson.
Oh no, that could either be great or
Past
questionable.
Kill it.
Hey Ryan Johnson, we hear you like a challenge. That was the first time I went, oh, we've not really questioned his motivations. He's just this good character, but maybe he's not. Maybe he was engineered, or not engineered, but trained to be less than.
Yeah, because we're about to get a conversation, what we do in the next scene, where Kara's talking to the Mandalorian about the IG-11 droid, which he does not trust at all.
You got a real thing for droids, don't you?
I got a real thing for that droid.
The Ugnaught said he rewired it.
That droid was designed to kill things. I don't care how much wiring he replaced, it goes against its nature.
And Quill and him also had a scene previously where he's talking about
Droids are not good or bad. They are neutral reflections of those who imprint them.
I've seen otherwise.
And if this ties into what's going on with Baby Yoda, that this could be a lot of foreshadowing, him talking about it with the droids, but it could be something that he does not expect to see in some kind of a biological being.
Yeah, maybe it's Snoke's child.
Oh.
Let's get through the rest of the episode.
Okay.
I have thoughts.
All right. So then they get to Navarro, and we see Grief Karga with some Knights of Ren, and he tells the shock trooper to stay with the ship, obviously because they're a little threatened by her and what their original plans are. Mm-hmm. They want her to be on the ship.
We have a new stroller.
Yeah, that was
It's
nice
back.
to see.
Yeah. There was a scene earlier in the episode where Baby Yoda's just walking, and it's like, it's uncomfortable. It'd be like, yeah, none of these characters are going to pick it up, but dude, his legs are short. Like, you can't be doing this.
Yeah.
But he's back in a floating crate again.
Yeah, it's cool to see that, and it's improved by Quill. And they make their way through Navarro and take up camp, in which they're attacked by some big pterodactyl things.
Nothing can go wrong, and then a dragon swoops down.
Oh, it made me jump. I was like, I was not expecting that.
I don't know how accurate it is. According to the wiki, it labeled them as Minox.
Oh, like giant Minox.
Good golly, that's a big Minox.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that. I was like, Minox. I was like, those are an Empire. They're so little in Empire. Maybe it's because they're babies, or maybe it's because they're cave dwelling. This scene, as soon as that thing swept down, I immediately thought of Pitch Black.
Yeah.
Like that was just where my brain. I was like, oh yeah, those terrifying flying. They're like, no, where's Vin Diesel with his night vision eyes when you need him?
His eye sprites or eye shines or
You're
whatever.
expecting the Mando to take his helmet off and have the eyes.
The eyes of Vin Diesel.
Oh, he's got some sort of vision with the eyes.
Yeah, he's got the Predator thermal vision thing.
Yeah, he does.
He doesn't seem to use that though in this scene. They have a lot of trouble with these birds.
Well, yeah, less of the two because like it detects heat signatures. So I wonder. I mean, with Minox, like they could be birds, they could be reptiles. So who knows? Like, I wonder if that works for like cold-blooded things. How his imaging system would process stuff.
Well, if they can survive in space, maybe their blood is so cold it doesn't register.
Yeah.
So we've seen. Yeah, I mean, clearly this planet is got a lot of lava and stuff, so it's a hot planet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Apparently, Minox are not affected by temperature.
No.
Interesting, fascinating. This changes how I go.
Yeah, I mean, it's Wikipedia, so it could be wrong, but that's just what the summary listed them as Minox.
I buy it.
But I mean, they do look like bigger versions.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Chewing on the wiring.
Yeah, and so they grab a couple of the blurgs.
Yeah.
And just fly off.
Poor Quill's so distressed when they pick up the first one.
Put her
down. I felt so bad for him.
Those are big.
Yeah, they fit 3 blurgs on the Razor Crest.
Well, yeah, if it can pick up a blurg like that,
Why
then-
didn't it just take Grief Karga with it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
or his arm. Like, jeez.
Also, can we talk about what a ridiculous name Blurg is for an
It's
animal?
it's not
It-
good.
it just
I've
sounds
never
like-
liked the name.
Hey, what should we call it? It's like Blur. Hey,
we're
was that a
taking the
name? Oh no,
Pokemon
I was
approach.
vomiting.
Those things originated in the Ewok movies.
Oh yeah.
Battle for Endor and Caravan of Courage.
Oh,
Blurg. Yeah, and then they
And then Clancy
pick-
Brown in the previous episode, his name is Berg.
Yeah.
Which is like
Blurg.
Berg on a blurg. Oh, maybe we'll get Berg on a blurg eventually.
Oh, a little tie-in Star Wars children's book.
Yeah.
he gets stranded though.
The
on,
new sheep in a jeep.
on Hoth in a body of water on a piece of ice. So he's Berg on a blurg on an iceberg. Anyway, they lose one of the guys.
They lose one
Yeah.
of the
Which-
bounty hunters.
So like I wasn't expecting these guys swooping down carrying stuff off, but then the music starts to die down, the tone starts to settle, and then the guy gets snatched, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's wave number 2.
Mm-hmm.
I really wasn't expecting. I thought it was done, but nope.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well then it just it turns into that scene from Predators when they get attacked at night and they all just start firing off into the darkness.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Cara Dune is just Jesse Ventura with the chain gun.
I ain't got time to bleed. Yeah, this, like for an episode that was just kind of moving along the way it was supposed to, that was just a
Yeah,
left
that
turn.
genuinely caught me off guard. I was like, they're probably going to be fine until they get to the client. It's like, nothing's going to go wrong. I was like, oh crap! All right, we got pterodactyls in the mix.
To which we find out Grief Karga got his arm cut open,
Yeah, and it's poisoned.
which she knew immediately.
Yeah, and he goes, so this is how it happened.
He jumps.
She tells him, don't be so dramatic.
Yeah,
Which made me think of, there's a line in the first episode where he tells the Mandalorian,
Save the theatrics.
Carl Weathers is just a gem in this show.
oh, he's so good.
and then the line, it made me laugh so much when Baby Yoda like came up to him and pressed his hand on his arm. He goes, he's trying to eat me. I just laughed out loud.
He's trying to eat me.
Because he
the
noticed
fear in his
earlier that
voice.
he's eating meat. And he's like, oh, a carnivore. He's trying to eat me.
He's trying to eat me.
He's like a baby.
Like, it's so funny being threatened by something so tiny. Like, because I don't think we've really seen anything like it, at least in the show, that's like tiny and cute, but like really terrifying. Like those little child alien things from Galaxy Quest that have like massive razor teeth.
Oh no! Oh yes!
Because like that, I was like, oh yeah, it's adorable. Oh, he's trying to eat me. I was like, no, it's just look at his little teethers. He's fine.
But no, he ends up healing him,
Yeah.
which is that's a new one for the Force.
It's a new one for the Forced in the live action or just any kind of canon. We've seen it in like video games, like
Yeah.
Force healing.
Yeah.
You can get in like Knights of the Old Republic or any video game where you're a Jedi. You
It's-
can do, but
yeah.
that's a video game mechanic more
Right.
than it is like
Like an actual
tied to the
Force
lore.
thing.
I mean, overall, I find it a little easier to digest than flying through space, but it was just a new subtle little thing that was like, oh, this was like, and it's like rapid health.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is it? Because we see him presumably attempt to do it earlier.
Yeah, we
with the
didn't know what was going to
Mandalorians
happen.
repairing his armor. Yeah, but now we do find out that at least this time he does have that power to heal.
Yeah, I was not expecting like a full heal to happen. I thought like he was gonna suck the poison out with it. You know, like pull it out with the Force.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
But
Yeah, but now it's
No,
just like
no scar, nothing,
yeah.
which changes things.
yeah,
Like that's a pretty powerful go-to. Mandalorian's
it's like Wolverine now.
kind of yeah.
I'm
But-
still laughing about he's trying to eat me.
He's trying to eat me.
He's trying to eat me.
Like I said, man, Carl Weathers Grief Karga is one of my favorite characters.
Oh yeah,
pretty
he's such
easily.
a fun character.
I had a thought, or like, so the episode opens up though with the hologram, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've never really thought this before in any other Star Wars medium, but for whatever reason, Carl Weathers standing there with his hands on his hips. I was trying to picture myself doing that while I'm FaceTiming somebody. Like, I don't think to strike a pose while I'm talking to somebody on the phone, but like, there's like a part of etiquette in Star Wars that's like, how do you present yourself
when
in
you
your
can be seen 360?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I guess I'm more of a hands on hips kind of guy, or maybe like a crouching, like a Tebow kind of thing. Like, what would your pose be?
Place your hands on your hips, please, and then it gets sprayed with gold. More tie-in to.
Hey, we also have a Watchmen podcast. That series just wrapped up, but feel free to listen along as we go episode for episode. We do deep dives into each episode and how it ties into the comics, what the implications are. It's pretty great. Take a listen.
Yeah.
Now back to you, Travis.
Thank you. That
Paid
message
content.
That message was paid for by Who Watches, the show you're listening to right now.
And then they get moving the next morning.
Yeah, they get into town.
And Mandalorian asks Cara Dune to be his eyes and keep a watch out for things. Then Grief Karga turns and guns down his own men.
Yeah.
Which very quick.
Yeah.
Like it was like he got those shots off for the
drew-
Mandalorian cleared
quicker before
holster.
They could do that, which is interesting.
I was like, that's impressive. Like turn, draw, and place those shots. Which is interesting. 'Cause, like, I mean, we've seen Grief Karga in combat before, but like we've seen him take out a driver droid, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Like that's the extent of his gunmanship we've seen.
Yeah, this was pretty calculated, pretty smooth.
Oh yeah. And then we find out, of course, that his original plan was to betray the Mandalorian, which is kind of what I feel like we probably all sensed from the outset.
get-go. As soon as they got that message, you're like, no.
Yeah.
I got some major, the first part of this, until basically this scene, I was like, oh, great, here we go, Lando again. We've got the prominent African-American character betraying
the mustache.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly, yeah. Nope. This was a
Been there,
nice
done
refresher.
that.
Yeah.
Won't get fooled again. And then, of course, he's had a change of heart after Baby Yoda healed his Minoc wounds.
Yeah.
So then the plan becomes to lie and say that Cara Dune captured the Mandalorian, take him in with an empty carriage, and send Quill back to the Razor Crest with Baby Yoda.
And he tells them to engage ground security protocols on the Razor Crest.
Yeah,
Nothing
which
on this
where
planet
were-
will breach those doors.
Where were those on Arvala 7?
That's exactly what I thought. I'm like, why didn't he do that on...
I was
on
like,
that-
you got Batmobile security and you didn't use it on an unknown planet?
I mean, that's
Yeah.
on you at this point, right?
Oh,
I
yeah,
wonder if you
come
have to
on.
be inside to engage it.
Maybe. That could be it.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
It's the only explanation.
Right.
I mean, everything else is remote control.
Quill should have been like, what? You had it. You
I
had
had to
that capability
rebuild your
all along?
ship.
You got your ass knocked in the dirt by a space rhino for no reason.
Yeah. Speaking
You
of
got
that,
knocked
though,
off the top of a sand crawler.
when they're talking about when Quill is taking ownership of IG-11, and he's saying like, "Do you trust me? Then you can trust him." I was kind of hoping for a line there where Quill says, "You've trusted my work before with your ship. You've trusted your life in my hands multiple times. Trust, this is how you can know that you can trust IG-11." But
Yeah.
that's so.
Yeah, I mean, that again, I think it's less an issue of trusting Quill, and it boils down entirely to his
Absolutely, yeah.
his distrust of droids.
Yeah.
Because like the closest thing to a pleasant interaction he's had with one is when he and IG-11 take the compound in the first episode.
And then he kills him.
Yeah. Well, only because he tries to kill the target.
Yeah.
He's no good to me, Dad. But yeah, every other time it's like even pit droids is like shoot first, ask questions later.
Basically. So then they go into the they approach the city.
Yeah,
Which
we get
is
to see some biker scouts.
village.
Yeah, lousy
Finally.
with Imperials. And all the while, Cardoon keeps remarking how it's way worse than Grief Karga told them.
Yeah,
So we've had it a couple times in this episode, but this was like the most prominent scene to me of like the helmet that Mandalorian is wearing has a speaker that, so he speaks into the microphone and then it gets projected by his helmet or whatever, right? But he like leans over to Grief Karga and like whispers to him on a speaker on a helmet. And like that's not it happens like 4 different times in this episode where people in helmets whisper to somebody, right? Like sitting at a table that's not much bigger than
There's
like
probably a switch for it.
this whisper setting.
I mean, if there's a mic in it, there's probably a whisper switch or
I guess so.
yeah.
I mean, there's a mute
it'd be
button on
nice.
a cell phone.
Yeah, if Grief Karga was also wearing a helmet or something where it was covering his
Right, you'd
ears,
have
then
a
you could be
channel.
like, all right, we're going to the
Yeah,
private channel. But
Like every heist movie has.
yeah.
But no, I just thought it was a funny little detail. It was like, did he whisper that? How are the stormtroopers not hearing that?
yeah,
Oh, lousy shots, lousy hearing.
What was that? Nah, never mind.
I like that one of the biker scouts offers 20 credits for the helmet.
Yeah. Cocky.
Yeah, that's an ambitious. That's pretty lowball in there.
Yeah. Those biker scouts were not in proper uniform either. They were showing too much black in between the whites of the belly and the
Empire's
top
gone
part.
though. I
Yeah.
mean, who's enforcing that?
Empire's in tatters. For as much as the client complains about how much he hates the chaos that's arisen, he seems pretty lax on the dress code.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt.
Yeah. I also like that Grief Karga said, "Oh, there's only like 4 stormtroopers," promising him you've got like good odds 4-on-1. You like them like that.
I like those odds.
Right. I felt like that was a callback, even though like Grief Karga wasn't there for that. But like clearly.
But he knows what the Mandalorian's capable of.
Yeah. Yeah. But he's invested in this at this point. To what purpose does it serve to be ambiguous about how many stormtroopers there are?
I don't think he was being ambiguous.
You think he was surprised by it?
Yeah, because it seems like he was caught off guard. Because like the presence outside, he knew about. Like he knew that, because that's the whole reason he wanted to go in the first place. And when they get to the cantina, there are 4 stormtroopers, but then more arrive.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's right after the client takes the hologram call.
Yeah.
It's when they more of them roll in.
Yeah.
When Gustavo Fring calls in.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we might as well just move on to that scene.
Yeah.
Because the client is set up now because their hideout's gone. So he's set
the
up
safe house.
in the bar now.
Mm-hmm.
Which was kind of cool to come back to that point. It felt like kind of coming full circle for the season. More Werner Herzog, which is just great. Like,
Oh yeah, and God, every line of his is like, it's such a Werner Herzog thing to say. Like when he makes the comment about the craftsmanship of the Beskar steel.
It is amazing how beautiful Beskar can be when forged by its ancestral artisans.
And he caresses it with the back of his hand.
Yeah.
and they accidentally put a scene there in that was just Werner Herzog inviting Carl Weathers out to a drink. He said, "Can I interest you in some libations as our joint story comes to an end?" That's not even that's not in the script.
And then he's so polite about having to take the call too.
Yeah.
Even him politely excusing himself sounds sinister. Which I mean,
It's true, yeah.
Again, I think it just speaks to how sinister Germans sound in general. Between the language and their cadence.
It's true.
Or maybe it's just generations of films that we've watched that pit us against the Germans.
Werner Herzog and his existential despair.
So then he takes the call, and the bar just gets blown away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To which my initial thought was, oh, Quill got to the ship. They, IG-88s, or IG-11, sorry. Pardon.
Yeah.
They don't all look the
player
same.
hate on age.
I thought they showed up and just saw the situation going south, so they took action. But no, something I didn't expect at all to show up in this show were the Death Troopers.
Yeah.
Well, they were in the trailer, so
Were they?
yeah, with Moff Gideon here. So
Yeah, well, then a big old transport of reinforcements arrives, and then is it a fighter or a bomber?
oh, it's a TIE fighter, but it's a specialized TIE fighter because it does something we've never seen a TIE fighter do, which is fold its wings. And I'm like, oh, this is crazy what we're seeing right now, like on screen, and it looks so good in that whole
really
scene.
Oh yeah, I was just expecting it to come in and just like start blasting the hell out of the cantina. And then it landed. I was like, oh, we finally gonna get Giancarlo Esposito? Yes, we are.
Yeah. Just for a brief second before we'll get him a lot in the next episode. And then also the more troops show up inside of an Imperial troop transport.
Yeah.
Which is the first time we're seeing that live action. That was actually first a toy in the 70s. And it was never on screen. They made it canon.
40 years later, it's here, baby.
They made it canon in Rebels, and then finally like in live action form.
Just a couple more years, and we'll get all the stormtroopers with lightsabers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the TIE fighter landing answers a question that I've because every time we've ever seen them before this, they're like docked, they're up off the ground,
or it's
like
pain in the butt to climb up in there.
Right, and where do you land them on a planet? What do you do? Like, if the Empire has had presence on multiple different planets that we've seen TIE fighters on, but they always have to have this hangar. So, is this a variation, or have they always been able to kind of land when they need to? It's interesting.
I think it's a variation.
Yeah.
There's we've seen in Rebels, we've seen TIE fighters land on planets without being able to do that. So I think this is a specialized one.
Okay. It's really cool either way.
Yeah.
Then we get the scene with Mandalorian calling out to Quill.
Yeah.
Which apparently he didn't change stations from the Empire station because the scout troopers hear it.
Yeah.
Oof. And this goes a direction I wasn't expecting for this either.
No, he kept calling back and forth, and the cut to and from, and you're expecting him to reach the ship. You're expecting IG-11 to come out. And then they do the cut, and you see Baby Yoda on the ground, and I'm like, oh, okay. He left him on the ground, and he's going to continue and we're going to see that he had continued going to the ship so that they didn't get to Baby Yoda, and then you see them scoop him up, and then Quill's body, and you're like, oh no, this is not.
Yeah, this
how
is
it should go.
Yeah,
it was a big bummer.
That's it. Yeah,
I'm not optimistic about him as I was for Fennec Shand.
Yeah,
or IG-80 or IG-11.
Yeah,
I keep doing that.
But great news is now I can cosplay as one of the biker scouts who scooped up Baby Yoda, and I can carry a Baby Yoda around.
Yeah. You're relevant.
Yeah.
Either
so
way,
that's
it's
how
just
the
a sad
episode
day,
ends, and now we've got 9 days until the next episode.
So
There's nothing in between now and then that can possibly hold us over or give us a Star Wars fix.
This episode premieres with the tag on the banner that says "Stay tuned for Rise of Skywalker exclusive footage and whatnot."
Yeah,
I didn't watch it because
No.
I'm trying to go as blind as I can. But the fact that they bumped up the release date to be right before, so they're not competing with their own, Star Wars isn't fighting against Star Wars.
Yeah,
which seems slightly weird to me because it's like, do you know your audience, Disney? We can do both.
Probably, yeah. But then used it to generate more interest in Rise of Skywalker. Because Mandalorian premiered as one of the highest viewed streaming
for sure
shows of all time. It holds the record now.
Yeah.
But then funnel that into the movie, but also ended on a cliffhanger. Man, it just I was like, daggone it, they got me.
Yeah,
Like,
hook, line, and sinker. We fell for it.
I did. But I'm also curious now. Werner Herzog has this kind of line of dialogue before everything goes down, where he's talking about how the Empire actually brings good to the universe.
Yeah, like order.
Like
he asks
prosperity
him
and
like,
health
well,
and-
why did Mandalore resist our expansion?
Yeah, which, man, we didn't get an answer to, because I don't even know that the Mandalorian would know that.
Yeah,
Like, we don't know how much history of the actual planet we know, that he knows.
Yeah, the Mandalorians, like there's a, in Rebels there's a plot line with the Mandalorians fighting alongside the rebellion to a degree, resisting the Empire. So it's cool to see that tie in.
Yeah, but it made
like
me
you
also
said-
wonder, like, because he raises good questions of like, is this better? Is the universe that you've just experienced, is that better than what it was under the Empire? It makes me wonder if Mandalorian isn't covering the creation of the First Order.
Well, they've said as much that this show is going to dive into that to a degree.
Oh.
So
I didn't know that.
Oh, well, spoilers.
Whoops.
Which it's not been on my mind until you said it. So,
because like that's the first time I went, oh, maybe that's what we're following. This sect of the Empire remnant is rising into the First Order.
Yeah.
Because it would make so much sense, because obviously the First Order's influenced heavily by, the troopers' costumes are very similar. Their armor, I mean, not costumes. But then we have Gus Fring showing up, and I went, oh no, is this going to start laying groundwork for Snoke that we never got? But I don't know.
We don't
I
know.
I don't know. It just makes me wonder if we're going to get the origin of Snoke through this medium. But we'll see.
Baby Yoda.
We'll find out this
We
weekend.
never do.
Yeah, I'm fine either way.
Sometimes a mystery is nice.
But I mean, Snoke could be the lube man of Star Wars, where you have to find out through other
On
mediums,
Pedopedia.
right? Which the Pedopedia in this case being the Mandalorian.
I'm not gonna lie, emotionally, I was way more invested in Lube Man.
Anyway, I had that thought for the first time watching through that scene. That was like, oh, he has a point. Like, the universe that we've seen is in disarray, and even the rebellion taking over hasn't been able to really establish or fill that void.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's a time of transition.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to get some answers to the universe at large through Mandalorian, and now I think we might.
Yeah, I mean, I think is one of the most interesting time periods to show too.
Yeah,
Because like we said, like it's something we've not really gotten. Well, we haven't gotten in the live action at all. So it's really cool seeing this time period. It's cool seeing Imperials like trying to stay low key, and seeing the New Republic like trying to get a handle on things. You know, the big tragedy is that Quill didn't get a final "I have spoken."
Oh no!
Like
you're right.
not even like a sacrifice line, like leaving Baby Yoda with IG-11, and IG-11 was like, "No, stay on the ship." It was like, "I have spoken." Like going out to
yeah.
Maybe he's programmed it into IG-11, and IG-11 will deliver the line at some point.
I have spoken.
Yeah.
You're not coming on my ship. I have spoken.
He did get to say it about the blurgs, though.
He did, yes. The blurgs are coming. I have spoken.
Yeah, it definitely raises some good questions about what's coming.
Well, and the other thing, too, I think this is the first episode where the credits don't end with the Mandalorian's theme. Where it's a much sadder piece. And I was like, yep, now Quill is definitely dead. The music changed.
No, so for a show that had been relatively light, the stakes had been more or less pretty light. It feels a lot heavier now.
Yeah, and we've seen characters die, but like this is the first character we've seen die that we have had any real attachment to or investment in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or that we didn't. This is the first time.
I never would have thought I'd be sad to see Nick Nolte die on screen, but here we are.
In a way, you still haven't. but yeah. Any other thoughts?
No, just
That's
really
a big
excited about
Yeah,
stuff
just-
coming up, wrapping up the season.
Yeah, I'm real curious to see how they get out of this this little pickle they're in.
Yeah,
Old pickle.
This is more of a end of Wild Bunch scenario than the first end of Wild Bunch scenario they did.
yeah, it is.
Outgunned and outmanned.
With only IG-11 to save the day.
Which, I don't know. He's back. We don't know if he can even hold a blaster, though.
Maybe Baby Yoda crushes the TIE fighter like in Force Unleashed.
Oh. He pulls a
And
Star Destroyer
slams
out of
it
the
into
sky.
the ground.
No, thank you. So I think we talked about this. I don't know if we actually decided. Next week, Rise of Skywalker will have been out.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're covering that, aren't we?
Yeah, I'd like to have a little discussion about that.
Sure.
Can't tell you when to expect said episode, but we will definitely be talking about Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, so we'll get the finale of season 1 of Mandalorian next time, and we'll talk a little bit about
The last Star
Skywalker.
Wars movie ever.
And
The last one they'll ever make. Yeah, this is it.
And then, of course, our holiday special coverage.
Oh, man, please, can we get Jon Favreau? What can we do? Can we write letters to our congressman or something?
Dear
I think he would do it
Congressman,
for free.
Flint doesn't have drinking water, but can we get a new holiday special?
Yes.
Yeah. So until all of that good stuff happens, you can find the rest of our Mandalorian coverage and our coverage of the HBO series Watchmen on this feed and on any podcatcher of your choice. You can find this show on Twitter at WhoWatchesPod and on Facebook, Instagram. And Ryan, where can people find more of your work?
You can find me at Harbjagen, that's HARBJAGEN on Twitter. What about you, Dustin?
You can catch me at DustinMeadowsComedy.com. It's got my blogs, my social media links, upcoming shows, all that good stuff at DustinMeadowsComedy.com.
Cool. And we'll be covering some Rise of Skywalker as well as the season finale of The Mandalorian. And starting next year in January, we'll be covering the CBS All Access Star Trek show, Picard. As we wait for all that, initiate self-destruct sequencing.
But now, we must eat. Come. Good food. He's trying to eat me. How you get so big eating food of this kind?